Would you like your Notion dashboard to offer more of a personal feel? For example, imagine when you open your Notion app that it felt like you were entering a favorite familiar space conducive to creating, thinking, learning, getting things done. Maybe that's a desk space, a library, or coffee shop. Maybe it's a mountainside park or cafe. Sounds nice, right? Especially in instances when you're unable to visit these places. So a quick explanation if you're new to Notion, it's an app or a website if you choose to use it that way, where you can create your own personalized electronic organizer. You can use Notion to take and organize your notes, create databases and to-do lists, plan projects, and so much more. Having used Notion for over a year now as a PhD candidate, I've been thinking about how I could further streamline my Notion organizer so that it really reflects what's most important to me and doesn't involve a lot of clutter. I've also been thinking about how to give my Notion a more personal and less databasey feel. If these sentiments resonate for you, then I hope you'll enjoy this video where I'll be giving you a tour of my updated main dashboard on Notion. It's designed to transport me to a coffee shop atmosphere in my mind. So before we get going, let's talk about some of the design principles that I'm using to revamp my setup. My overall goal is to revamp my Notion setup so that it reflects a balance between functionality and personality. When Notion first came out, it was so exciting to try all the different templates that I came across through their templates page and also as mentioned and created by various YouTubers. What I quickly learned, and people who've also used bullet journals before can probably relate, just because you can track something or organize something doesn't necessarily mean that you should. Given the time and effort involved, is it worth it? Will you be consistent enough for a given page to be valuable to you? Alternatively, does a page benefit you even if you're using it inconsistently enough that you should keep it? So for example, say you're like me and you have an exercise page within your Notion organizer and you don't always choose to track your exercise, but when you want to, it's there and it's set up in a way that it's beneficial regardless of consistency. That's an example of a page that generates benefits for me regardless of my consistency in using it, so I've kept it. So my first principle that I would suggest is to only include pages in your Notion organizer that are likely to generate good value for you. Definitely avoid creating or maintaining pages that are pretty much acting as clutter. Too much clutter can actually take away from the effectiveness of your Notion organizer and might actually deter you from using it. An activity that I undertook that you might try is to grab a piece of paper and a pen and ask yourself, what could Notion help you organize the most in your life? Ask yourself, what kinds of problems do I have that Notion could help me solve? And then ask yourself, is Notion the best tool to help yourself solve each problem? Doing this really helped me to identify what I needed and what I didn't need in my Notion organizer. So for example, while Notion is very helpful to me in terms of project planning and mapping out big picture strategies, when it comes to creating my daily to-do list, it's more helpful for me to be able to do that in my bullet journal. You know, the act of writing it down and checking it off just really helps me to stay focused on what needs to happen. My bullet journal can sit open on my desk at all times, and so the tasks are kind of like right under my nose. And I can't deny the satisfaction of checking off those items with a pen. Checking a box online, just not the same. So knowing that, I no longer use Notion specifically for daily to-do lists, but I do use it to help me figure out what needs to happen in a given week, in a given month. Essentially, Notion inspires the daily to-do list. So in redesigning my Notion, I've been going through and deleting pages that I felt really weren't offering me that much even when I did use them. Doing so has definitely felt like freeing up some mental space. And then in rebuilding certain pages and dashboards, I've been focusing on what I need most, which is functionality mixed with a dash of personality. So since my Notion revamp is in progress, today we're going to be focusing in on how I've revamped my main Notion landing page or main dashboard, if you will. Inspired by some fellow YouTubers, the first thing that I considered was what sort of atmosphere did I want my Notion main page to help create for my work sessions. Right now, I decided to go with a coffee shop theme since I've been missing the ability to working coffee shops. Using the Unsplash integration, I selected some photos that would help to create an atmosphere of sitting by a window in a coffee shop. I also added a Spotify playlist to add to the atmosphere. This one happens to be dark academia themed, and I just really love the music. One of the first things I added was a quick link to my notes section, because assuming it's not first thing in the morning, if I'm in a class, if I'm in a meeting, what's the first thing I'm doing when I open my Notion? Taking notes. I then outlined elements of my morning routine and included links to some of the resources I use. So for example, when I click the meditation link, it takes me to the Calm app's webpage. When I click the exercise link, it takes me to my exercise resource page within Notion. I also included a prompt that I wrote down in my planner a while back. What do you think you were put on this earth to do? Revisiting this encourages me to continue to reflect on my sense of purpose. I also included a weather widget because the weather is usually one of the first things on my mind in the morning. I created this widget using Indify, which is a website, indify.co. I also embedded a copy of my Google Calendar so that I can see what's on today and this week. My reasons for using Google Calendar include that it enables me to receive alerts on my phone and on my watch. Google Calendar also offers a weekly and daily layout, whereas Notion's calendar is primarily monthly, or you can kind of see things in list format. The weekly and daily are most functional for me. So Notion, if you're listening, there's some ways that you can improve your calendar function for me. And you can also create your own Google Calendar widget on Indify. I then have my Project Central, a list of project-based tasks that I'm working on. All of my calendars throughout Notion filter up to this one. So for example, my dissertation is one, my YouTube project is another. So going back to those paper daily to-do lists, they're inspired by what I see in Project Central. Then there's my currently reading watching list. This is mainly just to add to the atmosphere of the page and to encourage me to read for fun. I also added a book counter widget for fun. Again, you can make that on Indify. And finally, there's a link to some YouTube videos that contain some of my favorite study music. They actually happen to be my own videos. Of course, I would like the music because I created the soundtrack. You can play YouTube videos as embedded videos in your Notion dashboard. So what that means is that they can essentially function as a music player. So the two videos you see here are study or write with me videos that are again on this channel if you'd like to go check them out. So there's a little preview of how I'm updating my Notion organizer in 2021. I'm happy with the changes made thus far, and there is much more to come. If you'd like to see more videos about my Notion setup as a PhD candidate and content creator, like this video or leave a comment below to let me know. You might also consider subscribing so that you'll be amongst the first to know when these videos and others are up. Also, if you have any ideas for me in terms of how I could further upgrade my Notion organizer, I would welcome these in the comments. And if you have questions about Notion and how I use it, again, feel free to comment below. I'll answer as many questions as I can. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.